Welcome to Radiant Health, how to create health from the inside out. I'm your host, Lori Wakov, and I'm so happy that you're here with us today. I hope that you are able to find a nice quiet spot and take this all in and embrace it, because you never know, today might just be the day that you hear exactly what you need. And I'm so excited to introduce you to my guest today, Abby Gooch. Abby is an intuitive healing coach. She's an author, a speaker. She is the founder of One Heart Global and Life Force Connection. And Abby, I just want to say how excited I am that you're here today. And thank you so much for being with me and doing this with me.
Oh my gosh, of course. It's my pleasure. Happy to be here.
Ah, well, thank you. Well, first, I just want to start by, I want to set the foundation. What is radiant health to you? What does it mean to you?
Oh, I love that question. Radiant health is really being happy from the inside out, right? Like having a heart and a body that glows, and you're just being the love that you are, and you're beaming, right? With love. And you're just obviously giving your body all the nutrients it needs, right? Exercise, all of that.
Exactly. That's how I feel about it too. What would you say the choosing radiant health has given you in terms of key to success? How has it helped you become successful in whatever that means to you?
Awesome. I think the first step for me and what I would teach in any intuition class too would be following your heart, right? So your heart is connected to everyone and everything around you. So when you're just listening to your heart, maybe even putting both hands on your heart, tuning in, you can really just feel where your heart is guiding you. And then dropping into your intuitive center a couple inches below your belly button, you'll feel your body guiding you, because radiant health is an expression that moves through your body. Right. And so you can even do it. Like I notice when I go to the grocery store, like I know what to buy because it feels right or not, right? Intuitive eating, right? So our body's constantly communicating with us what's going to be good for us or not. And those can sometimes come through emotions as well, right? So we could feel maybe disconnected or fearful, and that's our intuition guiding us saying, maybe don't do that path, right? And so similarly, your body could say, hey, move in this direction, which feels joyful and light. And that is radiant health, right?
Yes. So, and I've worked with you. You've worked with me because I have trouble or had trouble listening to my intuition.
Mm.
Um, I've always felt like I have it, of course, but I don't always listen to it. And so would you say, so when something feels really good inside, that's when we know that it's the way we should go, maybe the food we should choose at the grocery store or the path that we go on. And when it feels kind of yucky, is that when we know we shouldn't take that path?
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. It's just constant feedback that our body gives us, right? It's such a gift that if we listen to it, like I said earlier, like you are going to have that radiant health because you're following those positive feelings. And naturally, you'll gravitate towards the food, the exercise, the living environment, the relationships that feel really good to you.
I know it comes so naturally to you, and it's something that I still work on. Is there something? Is there a way that we can practice this in our daily life? Like, what's an easy way to just kind of start? And I've noticed since I've started practicing it, it is more of a habit now. It kind of does come more naturally,
Mhm.
but sometimes I catch myself and I don't. You
Yeah.
know.
So I think it's listening to yourself and realizing that like you don't have to do anything you don't want to do. You don't have to do anything that doesn't feel good. And so practicing saying no, and also saying yes when it does, right? So again, kind of using your body as that resonance, kind of like an instrument, and you're like, there's a poem about, being an instrument of spirit, right? So you're basically just moving into alignment with that greater expression of love, right? So you can say yes when you mean yes and no when you mean no.
And it's okay. It's okay to say no. And
Mhm.
I think that's something that some of us struggle with too, like knowing our boundaries and that it's okay to say no
Yeah,
when it doesn't feel right to us. Like we don't have to say yes just so we please
right,
somebody else.
right. Exactly. Exactly.
And so how would you say that you have grown by choosing radiant health?
Mm. I mean, man, when I choose radiant health, life becomes easy. It's in alignment. It feels good. It feels light. It's freeing. It's joyful. So I think it's really about, yeah, giving ourselves permission to choose it.
Oh, that's a good way to put it. It is, because I know that ever since, like, we've talked about how a negative thought can turn into a belief, which can turn into the stories in your head. And I know that once I became aware of that, and uh, I kind of just did start choosing to only allow positive thoughts in my head, and that has made a tremendous difference
That's all.
in my day to day, just not only actions, but just how I feel. My intention is set for the day
Yeah, I love that.
by that. Yeah. So how would you say that, because I know you've done a lot in this world, but would you share with us how choosing radiant health has helped you make a positive impact on the world and help support the life that you love?
Mm. Yeah. So, I mean, when you choose radiant health for yourself, you naturally like vibe that goodness to everybody else, right? So, when you're feeling really good, you have a lot of energy. We have the nonprofit One Heart Global, where I travel and reach the kids and go to the orphanage. We're actually wanting to build one in Ecuador. So, it naturally, it's kind of like a ripple. Right, a ripple effect, right? So like if you just imagine a water, right, and there's one circle and then you just ripple out that love, you know.
It's just like, you put it out there in the universe and you attract it back to you.
Yeah, and it just, the radiant health, to answer your question, like it makes a positive impact in the world because you are that force of light, right, and love, and so of course that's a positive impact, and it inspires and uplifts everybody around you naturally.
And I can see it in you. You radiate this health, this glow from the inside out.
How could we not do it from the inside out?
Right, because it really does. It starts in here, doesn't it? Yeah. Uh, so I have a question for you about, because I have trouble showing up for
Mm,
myself
mhm,
sometimes, and I work on that.
yeah.
But and knowing how important radiant health is, and working on the inside out, how has radiant health helped you show up for yourself in your life on a daily basis?
Yeah, I think when you give yourself permission to feel good, I know it sounds funny, but there's times in my life where I thought I had to do something that I didn't want to do. So I actually didn't give myself permission to choose radiant health, because if you think about it, like it's pretty natural. Like babies have a natural ability to express themselves and be fed and laugh and cry, do whatever. Even crying maybe is part of radiant health, right? Because you're expressing emotion. So
Yes.
I think it really is about giving ourselves permission to feel what we feel and trust our feelings, right? And so on a daily basis, it's like, what feels right? How do I take action in alignment with what feels right? And it can be a moment by moment thing, right? And that, I mean, that is like, the course that you've taken, it's very much like I talk about that, like in the moment. It's your inner compass, your intuition guides you here, there, right? Moment to moment to moment. So if you just listen, your health will improve because you're in alignment with the light within you. And it's available at every moment because your light's always there.
That's really what's key, isn't it? That
Mhm.
we have to choose, but we also need to be aware that it's there for us. Like you said, it's always there, and we have that option to make the choice, but sometimes we don't realize that. Is that
Mhm.
true?
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah. I know that, just knowing, like, yeah, it's just setting the intention every day to be the positive light in your life, in others' lives, and just to serve, to be there to serve,
Mhm.
has just, made such a difference for me on a daily basis. And so I know kind of things that I do to practice radiant health is, I journal, I meditate, I work on my chakras, and pray. What do you do? What do you put into practice every day that, maybe something our listeners can do as well to help them achieve
Mhm.
radiant health?
Yeah, it's kind of just like an alignment thing. So I'll bring the light through my crown chakra, so through the top of my head, through my energy down to my heart and into my gut. And I'll just ask to be guided, right? So I'll connect to the presence of love within me, and then I'll ask that that guides my life. So I feel like it's more like a constant awareness as much as I can that I'm in that connection to love and that expression. So I'd say it's more of an awareness. And then also, I mean, right now I'm visiting my mom in Idaho, so it's really cold. So I haven't been going outside, but normally I'm just in my body. So, I'm in San Diego and just like walking the beach and being like in motion, right? So one of the ways I connect is being in my body. And then it makes sense, like with what you're saying, right? Like the spirit of love is then expressed through the body and grounded and integrated and just becoming that.
Yes. Even like, would you say even getting out into nature? I know, like you said, you haven't been getting outside recently because it's so cold, but even something like that, where we can just get out and kind of be one with ourselves, one with
Mhm.
our body.
Mhm.
Is that a good idea?
Totally, because you're constantly interacting with life, with nature, with I mean, normally there's tons of people on the streets, right? With people that, are walking by, saying, how do you do? Like, I mean, it's just that fun and that joy that you're like connecting. So
Yes.
one of the other ways that you can increase your radiant health is through connection, right? Is through your heart. So when you're taking that walk and you're in your body, you're feeling everything, right? And that love is coming back to you and then radiating from you. So really finding that connection at the center of your heart and interacting with life.
Ah, that's what a good point. That's something I don't even think about when I'm out and about. But when people say, "Hi, how are you?"
Yeah.
It is that connection, and it just kind of does lighten you up. And then on the other end, if you come across somebody who's maybe in a grouchy mood or not so friendly, I tend to, I used to, I think, take it all in a little bit more than I needed to. I took that energy in. But if you just like let it go, like it's neutral feedback, and just not let it
Yeah.
get into your energy field, so to speak.
Totally. Totally. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, is there anything, like, if would you say, what would be the most valuable thing that you can share with our listeners in terms of radiant health, if you haven't already talked about it?
Good question. I mean, obviously, it's from the inside out. So connect to your inner joy, to what brings light to your eyes, what makes you feel free. Because I feel freedom is the natural movement of life, right? It's the expression of love. So if you allow yourself to kind of be that, and just tune into yourself, what is it that makes me feel alive, that makes me feel joyful, that makes me feel connected.
And follow that. Is that right?
Yeah, totally.
Okay. I think sometimes I don't know about everyone else, but I know for me sometimes I'm a little closed up, and I don't let the joyful stuff in. So part of it is just being aware and being open to it. Is that right?
Yeah, and again, it goes back to giving yourself permission to feel good, right? Like there's a really deep subconscious pattern that I know I have, that I work with and a lot of people do, of like not deserving to feel good and not really letting, like you said, the joy or the love in. So you and your coaching work now can help people shift the NLP. As work with clients to shift those beliefs of, it's like, yeah, I do deserve it. So the neuro linguistic programming stuff, it's a technique that I use to help people, and this too, Lori, for your clients, is how you can actually shift that negative emotion into a positive one. So the block of I don't deserve to feel joyful, notice where that is in your body, and then do the opposite. What would it feel like to deserve the joy and experience it and allow that joy to come in? And so just letting that come through. And then it'll start to reprogram your nervous system to actually feel safe to say yes to what feels good. So you can have the embodied experience of joy and happiness, which is your radiant health, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
we can do free intros. I recommend people can call me or you to do that because everybody needs the experience of it, right? So if you want to give the information out later, that's fine. Because it's funny, as I'm talking, I can feel it shift in my body, right? It's an experiential process where your body can actually experience it to make it real. to then live it in your life and create from there. And that ripple.
That's what I love. I love the fact that we can reprogram ourselves. So it doesn't matter, like, I'm 53, so it doesn't matter that I've had, almost 53 years of, maybe negative thoughts that I've allowed in my head. I can still reprogram and feel that joy and love inside my heart.
Yeah, and honestly, there's almost like an innocence that even that, whatever the negative thoughts were, most likely came from an experience that really hurt, where somebody was disconnected. And so there was a belief disconnected from love. So there was a belief that was made, maybe I'm not worth it, right? Which is a thought that's connected with a feeling. So we go back in and change that to be like, oh, actually, I am worth it. It is okay to feel good. And that person actually needs that too. Let's give them that feeling. Whoever hurt you, let's give them that feeling so we can all come back to that. Right. So it's actually, radiant health is kind of like putting the pendulum swing back into center so everybody can come back into that alignment of love and then move forward from there.
That's a beautiful way to put it. Just give love to yourself and give love to others. Maybe that person that maybe caused pain unintentionally, most likely.
Mhm.
That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I recommend people connect with you too, to do intro sessions because you're so good. You have such a beautiful heart, to share this unconditional love. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. That is so sweet. And that brings me to, you had mentioned a little bit earlier about connecting with you, and I want to bring that up and give you a moment to just say what you do, and I will happily add your link on the email when I send this video out. So your link will be included, but would you like a moment to just let the listeners know what you do and what you have going?
Well, everybody's welcome to go to the website. So if you go to lifeforceconnection.com, you'll see a free gift at the top. It's a guided meditation to living your best life. So it's all the 7 chakras, they're activations. So basically, when you activate those, you become in alignment with your highest self, that expression of love. And as you scroll down the page, you'll see a few shows that I'm on. So we have Intuition to Income, we have Oneness Talk Radio, and then we have the nonprofit One Heart Global, where we teach this intuitive work to children in orphanages. We've been to Bali and Thailand, and Ecuador is our next project. We're actually planning to build out a physical school there and teach this work. So we talk with the kids right now on Zoom, but it's pretty exciting to do the build out there. So yeah, a lot of resources, right? And the certification that Lori's in, and a lot of cool stuff. I mean, and coaches, we actually need to get more of our certified coaches up there. But yeah, until then, they can just reach out to you, Lori.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you. And I have to mention, so since I started working with you and you've taught me how to work through my chakras, something that, I've always known about. And in fact, I've heard and learned about them, but I've never really honestly acknowledged them or have done anything with them. And since starting working with you, I work on my chakras every day, and I have to say it has really changed so much for me. Yes, it's just, I guess that blocked energy that I didn't realize was there started moving around and has made such a difference in my life. So in abundant ways, and abundance can be, it can be anything. It can be love, it can be finances, it can be, family, relationships, whatever, just abundant. So thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. I love that. I still remember your phone call. You're like, I think I want to say maybe it was another student, but 4 times your income, because I know you have a skincare business too. And you'll have to tell me the exact numbers. All I remember was you had significantly increased your income. And I was like, you might even want to share that for listeners because you've become the embodiment of radiant health, really by following your intuition and being the health, right? And so, yeah, if you want, I don't remember the exact income
you
growth,
were
but
right.
it was a lot.
That was me. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
It did too, but tell me what it was for you. You did 4 times what you normally do in your skincare.
Yeah, it was. Yes, I had. I had done that for that particular month, the sales volume 4 times. And it had been slowly building itself up, but it had gotten to that point. I mean, from when I started working with you, and then it has slowly built up until that. I remember that phone call. Yeah.
So beautiful. And I love that. And I guess just coming back to what you're sharing on this interview is it was the daily work you were doing. It was you doing the chakra activations, you becoming aware of your intuition and being radiant health. So I think for everybody listening, it is that practice, right? Like look at the beautiful result because you continue to show up for yourself and your business and your intuition.
Yes, and that's a good point, showing up for yourself. And I think I had a fear of showing up for myself, because once you show up, you got to do the work, and you've got to be that person. And so that, I think I had a subconscious fear of that too. So it feels good to start showing up for yourself, you know? And
Yeah, and again, just kind of what I was sharing earlier about bringing in those positive vibrations. So showing up for yourself, how do you want it to feel? You want it to feel loving and kind, and so just notice what are the positive vibrations you can bring in and things to remind you of how to feel good. So, oh yeah, I can show up for myself. It does feel good.
yeah, and like you said, it feels good.
Yeah.
Thank you. Before we end, is there anything else that you would like to share, or maybe something I've forgotten?
I just think you're amazing. Like, I just invite everybody to book like an intro call with you. I feel like you just have such a huge heart and integrity and just so much love to give and, to really help people opening up to their gifts and just basically becoming what it is that you're teaching, right? The radiant health, that the joy that comes from that is like priceless. So, really, I
Oh,
just invite people, share your
oh,
email and have them, if they can reach you, I really recommend you highly.
oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Well, I love and adore you, and I appreciate you so much. And thank you for joining us today and sharing your wisdom. And and I just want to thank the viewers for watching, taking the time out of your day and watching this. And I will see you back here tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye.